You've been misled. Living a fulfilling life doesn't mean sitting in a room for 8 hours a day for 50 years straight. It's a lie. You've been fed a lie. That system works, but it only works for the leaders of society. You as an individual within society got the short end of the breadstick. You go to school to get an education using a system that was outdated 25 years ago. You finish school while aiming for good grades so you can get into a well-known college. Then you hopefully finish college to get a job in an incredibly saturated job market where a degree is no guarantee you will actually get a job. Then there are plenty of companies who provide their employees with training even if they don't have a degree. So what is going on? The answer is simple. The system wasn't designed for you. It was designed for worker ants. You're just a cog in the machine. Without the cogs, political leaders wouldn't get fat paychecks and you wouldn't have to spend $162,000 on a school education so you can survive. School, university, higher education, it doesn't matter. Why when people leave school do they not know how to do taxes, build other revenue sources, rent property, and end up working to themselves half to death? Do you see how this is bad for you as a person and society as well? That's exactly why striving for freedom is so important. You go to school and follow their guidelines, you study their recommended books, you listen to their teachers, then you walk out of the school with knowledge of many important things. But why did you do that exactly? When I went to school, my average was 50% for most of my school life. And at the end of the school year, I got a fancy certificate that will allow me to almost not get a job at all because of the ridiculously saturated job market. And what did it cost my parents? From $162,000. When I went to university and I took subjects I actually liked, I was a straight A student without trying, even almost every semester. Do they have access to information you can't find somewhere else? No. Do they determine what you can read, write, learn, and work on? No. Are you incapable of becoming literate without them? No. Do you learn things that you will never use in your life? And do you have pointless compulsory subjects that you have to take to get your grade 12 certificate/degree? Yes. Every single book I used in school and university can be ordered online for a total of $1,000 without enrolling anywhere. The system is outdated, and you need a new wall to build your mind, a new way to build your mind. Here is how to do that. Step 1. Identify your interests. That's right. The system allows you to pursue your interests instead of spending over a decade listening to teachers who barely make minimum wage. Important note, quickly. The system works no matter how old you are, but is ideal for homeschooling children. One of the reasons why so many people fail using the old system is because they don't want to be there. Reaching modern enlightenment means throwing away the shackles of the old system, and that includes spending years studying irrelevant subjects. To identify interests, you need to look at aspects of life you love. When I was growing up, I loved Greek mythology, but there was never classes for that. So what do? Go on the internet and download or buy the books that teach Greek mythology. Take a book and start reading. You'll find that you enjoy remembering things because it's actually related to your interests. Test yourself monthly. Suddenly, testing yourself becomes fun instead of it being boring or frustrating. And then there's no fear of failure or judgment because you love this subject and you control what you learn. As you go through this process, take a piece of paper or text document and write down the subject you love with the books on the subject you want to study. Repeat this process with every subject you love. By the end of this process, you or your child will have 5 to 10 subjects, subjects specifically made for you, that will help you build your mind as a person. During conversations, you will be more interesting because you know many things other people do not. Not only that, you will be happier as a person because you actually wanted to study those subjects. But there's 3 subjects that are a must when it comes to the system. The 3 subjects you will require for the rest of your life. Number 1 is English. No matter where you are in the world, this is the universal language. If you can speak it, you have some kind of leverage during any interaction in life. Your native language, the country you live in is what defines this language. You're required to communicate and function as a person in your day-to-day. Mathematics. Unless you're aiming for some kind of high-caliber profession, such as engineering, medicine, science, or anything related to those, you won't even require advanced maths. You can find books and videos on the internet that teach all of these things for free. I've lived 25 years and generated close to $10,000 selling services and digital products. And the only time I used math knowledge was when I was calculating revenue. The only maths you require is entry-level maths. Unless you're in a high-caliber profession, that's all you're going to need. Understanding psychology. Every parent and person should have a fundamental understanding of psychology. They need to understand how divorce will affect their child. They need to understand how not having friends is bad for personal development. They need to understand how to identify mental illness when it appears. So many children struggle with ADHD or autism while their parents have no idea what's even going on. This isn't only happening for children, it's also happening to adults. When I was a kid, I had to go through years of social therapy before I could function like a normal human being in social environments. This is because my parents identified spectrum-related symptoms in me from an early age, but my parents are medical professionals, so they could spot it. The issue is that 99% of the population would not know their child won't be able to function in society or make friends with the opposite sex. Without parents' understanding of psychology or having the ability to spot symptoms of behavioral problems, I would be a special child without a degree or knowledge of the business world right now. In many ways, my life was saved by psychology education. But you don't need to do a 5-year degree to have children. What you need to do is research subjects, research child brain development, and study child psychology. All of these things can be done from the comfort of your own home, using the internet. As I've said before, you don't need a degree to go buy these books. And if you're an adult who has struggled with things such as attention, staying passionate about one subject, struggling to communicate in social environments, struggling to make friends, etc., then you can go study these things yourself, and you might just come to the conclusion that you need to change your habits, go see a therapist, or change your environment because you've been functioning at a non-optimal state all this time. The outdated education system has brainwashed society because 99% of the population believe you can't teach yourself all this information using the internet and bookstores. You need to realize the lie. Which brings us to social skills development. When it comes to social development and awareness, it's up to the parents to teach the child how to socialize, how to behave in a social context, and develop their moral compass. The most valuable part of the current outdated education system is the ability to socialize with other young individuals. By putting them all in one place, children and students are forced to expand their mind and develop their social skills. But are you about to pay $162,000 so your child can make friends? I bet not. So by identifying your interests and turning them into subjects, you open the way for children or adults to learn at their own pace. Now it's time to provide what is lacking. The old system had a social environment, but there are plenty of introverted people who never learn social skills despite that. Here is how we're going to fix that problem, using this system. Socialize in person. If you're an adult, there are so many ways to socialize with people who are close to you. Use Facebook groups based on location, use Tinder or Bumble to meet people, or just go outside in public and make friends. For children, let your children play outside, let them make friends, use mom Facebook groups to host sleepovers, get-togethers, and playtime. You know how to do these things, you're just not doing them. Being a parent is the biggest responsibility you will ever take in your life, but you need to open your eyes and realize you don't have to spend a fortune on education for your child. But Ian, how will I get a job if I don't have a school or university education? So for a moment, let's ignore the fact that there's tons of jobs you can get without a degree that provide you with training you can use to eventually make decent money provided you work hard. According to what I understand, in most countries, to get a certificate for finishing grade 12, you only need to pass the final exam. This means you can teach your children necessary things they will need to pass the exam, and then they get the piece of paper that the job givers want. And you can do this without throwing away hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let's assume you threw away your chains, you identified your interests, you learned social skills, and you finished your grade 12 exam. What do you do now? From here on, you can do one of these two. Option number 1, you use your support system. These are your family members to build your business. People won't understand what you're doing, but that's okay, it's part of the process. Give yourself 6 to 12 months and see what you can pull off. In this newsletter, I've already provided you with plenty of resources you can use to build your business. You can access all my educational articles on business, personal development, and writing, paid and free, in the link in the description. Yeah, the link in the description of the audio file, the video, and the article itself. You cannot possibly lose after all the tools I have given you. But what happens if you fail more than you thought you would and your support system tells you to go get a job? Then you go to option number 2. In this option, you can either start studying at university while you're building your business, and hopefully by the time you're done, your business has taken off. But Ian, what if I don't have money to get a degree? Then you need to get a minimum wage job and use the leftover time and funds to build and scale your business. There's a misconception amongst entrepreneurs. Many of them believe a 9-to-5 should be avoided at all costs. But that's not true. You should only avoid it if you have the luxury of doing so, and having a 9-to-5 is a great way to pump money into your business while people starting from scratch using their support system might not have that luxury. If you're reading this, it means you have a fundamental understanding of how education should function and how you should raise your children as well. After spending 17 years in the outdated education system and 5 years studying education itself, I know how outdated, broken, and pointless the old world education system is. But now you have a plan, and I encourage you to use that plan. Thank you so much for watching, listening, reading. Again, all relevant products that help you with your online business, with your personal development, and with your writing ability can all be found in the description of the podcast, in the description of YouTube, and at the bottom of the article itself. Cheers.